What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for another week of fights live on a Wednesday night, my favorite place to be. And coming off of a historic UFC 280, man, it wasn't the best for me betting wise, but my guest had a very impressive victory, just racking up piles of money. And without further ado, I'm going to bring him in. You guys should know him. He's one of the biggest faces of mixed martial arts news, gambling, just everything, posting like 10 videos a day, staying active, millions of views on the YouTube. And man, we had a lot of good back and forth talk in the DMs the past couple of weeks, especially with some of the decisions last week. This guy's got a very good technical understanding of mixed martial arts as a whole and how it's scored and everything else. So I'm excited to break down UFC Vegas 63 with my guy, BertMMA. Let's bring him in right now. What's going on, Bert? How you doing?
Doing good. Excited to break down the fights. Kattar versus Allen. Good card.
Yeah, man, I'm glad we got it was down to like 8 or 9 fights at a certain point, all the cancellations. Now we got a couple back, the arm field got replaced. And we got Joshua Weems with Christian Rodriguez. I'm really glad about that one for sure, because I like Christian Rodriguez. He's actually a guy who's training over at Rufus-Sport, which is kind of by my neck of the woods too, so I'm pretty familiar with his skill set. But let's go through the comments real fast. We got first in the chat, French Potato saying legendary collab incoming. I think that's a pretty fair prediction here. And we got Johnny K. Picks, our boy, saying Hasbulla went undefeated as coach at UFC 280. Patrick, you should be proud of your son, bro. Yeah, I'm very proud of my son. He did a great job, man. Did you hear I saw a replay of the Makayev-Gordon fight. You could hear Hasbulla squeaking away instructions. Yeah, and he got it done. I think he called that armbar. What's going on, Jenna Marie, hitting us with the fist in the heart. Always good to see you. And we got the legendary Daz Files. Hasbulla is like 23 years old. Yeah, man, he's my son. What are you going to do about it? And we got CJP UFC Bets. Everybody go check out CJP UFC Bets. I think he's cruising towards 100 subscribers right now, doing great work, full card predictions, and doing very well with those as well. So without further ado, man, let's get into these 11 fights. We're going to go through just fight by fight. I know some of these are shaky, and especially the first fight of the night, Bert. I'm not even sure if we have an over and under for Christian Rodriguez taking on Joshua Weems on short notice here. So Christian Rodriguez is one fight in the UFC, and he kind of made an impact. I think that was back in February, I want to say, against Jonathan Pierce. And actually, man, I had money on Jonathan Pierce. I was sweating that because my boy Christian Rodriguez started teeing off on him at certain points of the fight, like round 2, had him in a deep guillotine early. So Joshua Weems is a guy that, I think he's got like 8 submissions on his record. It's kind of like his one trick that he's got to his game, arm bars off of his back. And most recently against Mo Miller, it was that guillotine in round 3, kind of Hail Mary one that he got gifted a little bit there. But he's got a know-how on the ground. But man, Christian Rodriguez was throwing arm bars, throwing Jonathan Pierce and all sorts of problems there. So I'm pretty heavy on Christian Rodriguez. I don't know what you do with this minus 310 money line. It seems about right given the circumstances. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup, especially because it's on short notice. If it wasn't on short notice, maybe I would say Joshua might have a chance to get it to the ground, possibly work for a submission, maybe edge out a close 29-28 decision. But given what Rodriguez was able to do, like everyone doesn't know, but he was up a weight class with Jonathan Pierce in his last fight, 155 pounds. 145 pounds. The man is a natural bantamweight, and now Joshua Weems is the guy coming in on short notice, so makes it a much tougher task, and especially with the submission defense, and the takedowns and the wrestling and the scrambles that Christian Rodriguez does have. I expect this one to be Christian Rodriguez outstriking on the feet. I would be surprised if Weems is able to get the takedown and hold them there. Might be able to get one, but I doubt he can keep it there.
Yeah, that minus 310 is ballooned up to minus 375 on BetOnline. I think the minus 310 is long gone on some books here. There might be one book or so where you can still get. No, minus 350 is the best I'm seeing on some of them. So, yeah, shout out to my guy, the MMA Jesus in here. I got to update these. But is there an over-under yet for that fight?
No props at all.
I would assume the over-under would be at 1.5 and probably close to even money, right?
Oh, never mind. Minus 164, minus 165 for the over 1.5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of quick finishes on the part of Joshua Weems, but again, it's lower level competition. What do you think about some of the finish props for C-Rod in this one? Like, what would you line with the knockout? Even if you were lucky, maybe it would be close to minus 150 or better.
For Rodriguez to get the knockout, I'm seeing some bookies saying inside the distance is plus 100. So
Like a
obviously you're
five
gonna get
dimes
a
or something.
yeah, a little bit better. I would say plus 180, plus 200 you probably get on Christian Rodriguez by knockout. And I'd be interested on maybe doing round one, round two KO props on him. Just a little sprinkle on that possibly.
Yeah, because you saw with the Fernie Garcia fight last year in the Contender Series, like it was kind of like right over the guard and like on the top of Weems's head, and it knocked him down. He wasn't like knocked out cold, but he just did not get up after like 50 ground and pound shots. Finally, Herb Dean called it off. So, yeah, interesting there. But that's certainly, at the end of this show, you guys were probably going to start piecing together like maybe a potential parlay too, using some key props and like some locks, quote unquote locks that we think on this card too. Just try to have some fun on this, kind of a lackluster card who makes some money. So, yeah, that's definitely a piece of this would be Christian Rodriguez. You got the short notice, the skill set difference. I'm all in on Christian Rodriguez. I think you are too. So the chat, shout out to Manuel the Machine. First time here. Let's fucking go. Good to have you. Shout out to Justin Villegas here. For Halloween, you should dress up as one of those guys who rip phone books in half. All you needed was the headband and flash old school phone book now and then. Dude, maybe I'll just do it for real. I'll just cut some of the pages beforehand to make it look easier. Got Ramirez taking notes. Yeah, man. C-Rod by decision. Do you see? I mean, the thing that worries me about that is just the durability of Joshua Weems and the fact that he's not been to decision that many times. But yeah, you could probably get some decent money on that. Chop down that minus 375 money line. But yeah, let's just cruise on to the next one since we're both in agreements for that. Going on to Cody Durden, this other short notice replacement. I was happy to see this one too. Cody Durden versus Carlos Mota. I like this fight a lot because I just bet on Carlos Mota in his last fight where he knocked out Rizvan Abuev in LFA. Easy money with that giant left hook that flatlined Abuev. Kick us off on this one, man. What do you think about this one? The odds look like they're around. What are we looking at? The best you can get is minus 165, but I'm looking at minus 170, minus 180 on Mota, plus 145 Cody Durden. You agree with that?
I disagree. I'm a pretty big fan of Carlos Mota. I've been watching pretty much every single one of his LFA fights. I love his strike and his elusivity. Has good cardio in the later rounds, especially in round 2, round 3. But Cody Durden, he doesn't necessarily have the best striking out there, in my opinion, but he just went out there to starch JP Buys. I mean, I know JP Buys doesn't have the best chin, but it still showed he's making improvements to his strike. And I don't know what he's going to make improvements from that fight to this fight. But I'm expecting the advantage to still go for Carlos Mota on the feet. But I still kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking Mota is probably going to get taken down at least in round 1 and round number 2. Coming in on short notice, it's going to be tough to prepare from the high intensity wrestling and grappling early on. I do think he'll come back in the third, but I think it'll not be enough. And I'm going to go Cody Durden 29-28 decision. So I would disagree with the odds, have Durden around minus 130-ish.
I mean, you should always be looking at the side of the guy who's not on short notice, right? I mean, this is good timing for Carlos Mota because, like we said, that was back in August only, so kind of a good, a little bit of a short turnaround, but he had a short fight, didn't take any damage. Maybe something to his hand there just from bouncing off the jaw of Abuev, but he should be ready to go in this spot. And he's definitely UFC level, having that 5-round war, which he ended up getting finished by almost like a fatigue TKO from Charles Johnson earlier this year. But I do like Carlos Mota in this spot. I wasn't keen on betting him at this price. Like you, I think it should be a little bit skewed. Like maybe I would line it here if it wasn't on short notice, but since it is, you kind of have to shave off a little bit of percentage on that line. They're kind of lining this as if like Carlos Mota had a full camp preparing for kind of like the wrestle boxing style of Cody Durden. So I like where your head's at on this one. Probably just a stay away spot, but I'm taking Mota to get this done. When's the last time Cody Durden got put away?
Put away that he's been finished? The Jimmy Flick triangle.
Oh, that like flying triangle choke. That was real slick too, wasn't it? And then, of course, the flying knee from Makayev. That was the last time I'm thinking of. Yeah, back in March. And that's about it. He's been choked out earlier in his career.
Yeah, but they were both submission losses. I don't think Carlos Mota is going to be going for any guillotines or triangles in this fight.
No, like so far, Durden's not the best at like holding people down, I've noticed. But and Carlos Mota, at least early on in the fight, he's good at getting back up. Yeah, I don't know. It's
I'm gonna be honest. Do you remember the Chris Gutierrez fight where it was kind of the same situation? He won round one, won round two, and just got completely destroyed. In round number three, there's a possibility for another draw here. If Mota just goes crazy with strikes, knocks down Durden like 2 or 3 times in round 3 or something.
I think as far as underdogs go, yeah, I like that. I think as far as underdogs go on this card, not the worst option to have, plus 150-ish on Cody Durden here, coming in as the guy who was preparing for a fight. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I see some people in the chat, Alex Ramirez saying Durden by decision. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you should always, the stats, who am I thinking? Yanni the Greek could probably tell you all the stats on guys who come in on short notice and what the percentages on that.
25%?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a real thing. So a little bit split on that one, but as far as a bet goes, probably not going to be placing money on this one. But the Durden side, man. Yeah, if those decision props, what's that decision prop at? Offhand?
There's literally nothing.
Oh,
they have
nothing.
KO prop, submission prop.
Not even 5 dimes?
Nothing.
Damn. All right. Well, hopefully in the next couple of days we can get something on that, because I would be down for the Durden side, or like a Mota finish, scorecards, no action, maybe.
That's
even
minus 210.
Ooh. That's not too far past the money line, so you can see where they're kind of lining those things. But yeah, moving on to something a little bit more exciting here, maybe some violence in this next spot. This is Chase Hooper taking on Steve Garcia. And I got to be honest, man, Chase Hooper is kind of like on my shit list as far as guys I want to, not back, but he looked okay in his last fight. He's just such a wiry guy. This is the smaller cage. He can just really get a hold of you, but his striking didn't look bad. It wasn't that it looked super refined in his last fight. He just looked more comfortable doing it and more aggressive, So going for the kill in his last fight against Kalarish. Steve Garcia, I think, is going to really try to bum rush Chase Hooper early in the spot. And that's kind of his only way to get him out of there. I think as this fight goes on, it's more and more dangerous for Steve Garcia here. The fact that this guy's only win is against Charlie Ontiveros. Charlie Ontiveros is probably the worst guy. And I think Steve Garcia is right behind him in second place. So I'm taking Chase Hooper. I like the Chase Hooper inside the distance props. You can chop down that number on Chase Hooper, which is, sitting around something crazy right now, right? Like a minus 300. So we're estimating 75% chance Chase Hooper wins this fight. The over-under set at 2.5. I like the under at minus 150, but because Steve Garcia probably has to finish Chase Hooper to get him out of there, right? I think Hooper's more live to get a decision just with the control time and getting that body lock. You're not going to lose any minutes off of a body lock, right? So I don't know. Even that Chase Hooper, he got ground and pound last time. This is plus 500 for knockout. So
yeah,
what do you like in this one?
I'm liking that knockout prop, the knockout prop, to be honest, because submission prop, I'm looking at where it is right now. Hooper by submission is plus 180 right now. Really, really not something I want to take a stab at. I do think if he's going to get the fight inside the distance, it'll probably be a submission, maybe rear naked, another heel hook, something like that. But if he gets Steve Garcia to one of those positions where he just has him where he can't really move, only takes 5, 6, 7 different elbows and ground and pound strikes, and he could get it out of here. And the odds on that, Hooper by knockout plus 500, definitely something I'd rather take a little bit of a sprinkle on, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially when the strategy we just saw play out, where it's he's going to have a body lock, he's going to rotate from back mount to maybe just a mount, and then it's going to be either Steve Garcia wants to get out of there from the TKO and turn his back and get choked out, or he goes back to avoid the choke and gets TKO'd. So to get plus 500 on that, I like a lot. Do you see any do you agree with me where you think it's an early stoppage from Steve Garcia if you were to win? How else do you see Steve Garcia getting this done?
If Steve Garcia is going to win, it'll have to be probably round number 1. And the only way I would say it is if he actually initiates a takedown and gets on top of Hooper. Hooper is just too savvy with going for a submission. We've seen a lot of guys going for a heel hook, and they're just boom, boom, boom. They're still going, and then they're out. I can kind of see it maybe being something like that. That would be the only way.
Yeah, we're basing all of his improvements off of one recent fight too. But, just as far as predicting the upside for this kid at whatever he is, what is he, 23 years old at this point? Or younger?
Oh, yeah, he's really young.
23, I think. Yeah,
23.
Yeah, so predicting the upside of that, you can at least get a little bit of value there. I'm sure he's got a lot of room to improve his striking. He's got a very big physique for the division. I like it a lot. So he's, again, I don't want to pay minus 300, but some of these inside the distance props you mentioned are pretty good. The unders I kind of like in this spot because it covers him slipping up on a banana peel and getting finished. So I do like all that. Hey, shout out to Victor De Jesus making it in here. What's up, fellas? What's going on, Victor? Probably at work as usual, starting that third shift. But man. Oh, put a sprinkle on. Is that Hooper? But I know what am I looking at here? I'm Copper. Copper.
Who is that?
I don't know. But yeah, Chase Hooper decision. Yeah. I mean, look, he could rack up that control time and definitely get a decision win here. I could see that happening. Steve Garcia, though, I just don't trust that he's going to last that long. What's going on, Couch Warrior? My boy Mike, best duo you could ever come up with. I think so, man. I'm glad I finally got Bert in here. We're going to have him for the pay-per-view last week, but there were some scheduling conflicts for sure. We got my guy Mike on Garcia knockout, fading the improvements of the young Chase Hooper. Well, moving on to something else. We're in agreement on that one as well. So are we all ready to one of my favorite fights of the card? No, we're not. We're not quite there yet. Joseph Holmes versus Junyoung Park. I do like this one, though, because I like Junyoung Park quite a bit. In the spot at middleweight, we got Joseph Holmes making his third walk to the cage now. He fought against Jamie Pickett and lost. Didn't look good. Fought Alan Amadovsky. Crappy guy in the roster, but he got the job done as he should in like 60 seconds by club and sub. This is a big test, and Junyoung Park is coming off of a win, but a very close one off of Eric Anders. Eric Anders can lull you into a very boring fight as well, though. So kick this one off for me, man. What do you see from these two as it stands? Who do you like in this bout?
Definitely going with Junyoung Park for this one. It's one of them.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's one of them where if your only real path to victory, I know Holmes does have pretty decent jiu-jitsu game and could possibly pose a threat on the ground, but I really see his only way of winning being on the feet with Junyoung Park, possibly catching him on the feet and knocking him out, or catching him on the feet and submitting him or something like that. And like you said earlier, if you're not able to beat Jamie Pickett in a 3-round striking fight, are you going to be able to go out there and beat Junyoung Park? I don't think so. And Junyoung, even if for some reason Joseph Holmes goes out there, outstrikes Junyoung Park, Junyoung's going to be like, dude, a few fights ago, I dominated a guy that Khamzat Chimaev beat. Forgetting the name right now. It was John Phillips and got the most strikes in UFC history in the middleweight division. I'm just going to take on and hold you there. And I see that being the case here. Not necessarily just immediately diving at the legs of Joseph Holmes. He'll test his striking a little bit, but then get the takedowns and use those to win the rounds. Don't expect to finish. Joseph hasn't been finished in his career. Lost that decision to Jamie Pickett. Lost the decision to Jordan Newman, other wrestlers. So I expect a 3-round kind of control fest of Junyoung Park. And I think Junyoung beats him on the feet as well. So 30-27, and that would kind of be the bet as well at plus 110.
Yeah, I like the boxing of Junyoung Park, to be honest with you. Like I said, we didn't get a lot of that in his last fight because Eric Anders is so low volume that if Park sort of can copy his opponents and like not have nothing to answer, nothing to counter. But I do like his boxing up close. Like he's got some very nice tight hooks, some good combinations when he does put it together and let his hands go. And I think against the tall man, he'll be able to get on the inside and pressure forward. And yeah, eventually look for those takedowns. Again, he had that record-setting performance a while back. Who was that against? That was against John Phillips, yeah, where he just grounded him for like 14 minutes, just pounded his head in without getting a TKO stoppage. Amazing. Yeah, I don't know. Do you see, like, what's the ceiling for Joseph Holmes? Like, ugly man. Like, he is kind of like Jamie Pickett. Like, he's got a great physique for middleweight. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be able to capitalize on that and, like, use it in the future. I don't know where he goes from here. This is a solid test. He's got a guy who's a lot smaller than him, a decent name in the division, that's been on a decent streak besides Rodriguez. I don't know. I mean, we got and the whole narrative of Junyoung Park is that he's very durable.
And then he got knocked out by Gregory, though.
Yeah, what's the I see some people that are like kind of tickling the submission prop for Joseph Holmes. What do you think about that in terms of Junyoung Park here?
Junyoung Park. Have y'all seen Junyoung Park's neck? Is he gonna get guillotined by freaking Joseph Holmes? I don't know. Come on.
Yeah, I just can't see it happening, to be honest. Like Junyoung Park just seems like he's able to really handle himself in some situations, and he's fought a pretty good, level of competition so far. So, and done very well with getting these decisions. So that was the spot that I wanted to lean towards as well, was the decision prop if I had to.
Yeah, the only guys that have submitted Junyoung Park are Shavkat Rakhmonov. If you don't know who he is, slap yourself,
Yeah,
because come on.
that was a while
and then
back
Anthony
too.
Hernandez.
Yeah, that was a while back, way pre UFC as well. Yeah, I'm glad we agree on that one as well. And the money line is at a point where it's playable as it is, to be honest, right around that minus 220. I'm even seeing like on BetOnline, we're looking at like minus 222 right now on BetOnline. That's come down a little bit. I saw that as high as minus 250 before, and that kind of scared me away from it. But it's Joseph Holmes. Who knows where he's going to end up from here? But this is the fight I really like a lot, because Andre Arlovski is one of my favorite fighters of all time, and has been for a long, long time. One of these last remaining old guys. I mean, he's been in the UFC for like 20 years at this point. He did take a break from like 2009 to 2014. I want to say he came back, but man, in his second stint alone in the UFC, he's had over 20 fights just since 2014. So this guy's hanging in here. I mean, he's got the second most amount of fights in the UFC, the most ever in heavyweight history by a long shot. Taking on Marcos Rogerio de Lima, Brazilian power puncher, who could lose a few pounds. Definitely never going to go down to like 205 at his age now, but he's basically a true heavyweight, but going to give up some size to Arlovski as far as like the natural lean heavyweight goes. I think it's De Lima is going to have the danger early against Arlovski with a knockout threat, or late with his size bullying Arlovski against the cage. But I think in that middle, like the later part of round one, if Arlovski can survive, box him up, all of round two, if Arlovski can, stay away, keep his cardio up, not get pushed against the fence, if he can just rack up rounds 1 and rounds 2 and then get held against the fence by De Lima in round 3, could get another one of these greasy decisions for Arlovski. What do you think about this one? I am going to put a money line bet on Arlovski. This money line just keeps on going up and up, so I'm waiting. You got anything on this fight?
Yeah, for me, for this fight, I'm kind of like you, where I kind of feel like Marcos Rogerio de Lima. I don't know if you said he was going to win. You had Marcos winning?
No, Arlovski. I think by decision.
Arlovski winning?
Yeah.
I was like, in my prediction video, I was so split on the fight, and that's why I'm definitely betting on Andre Arlovski. Plus 225 is horrendous, absolutely horrendous for this fight. Given a guy like Marcos Rogerio, with the cardio that he has and the way he likes to blow his energy out, in round number 1, it could easily be an Andre 29-28 decision like he did in his past 4 fights. So what I'm going to bet is 100% going to be Andre Arlovski by decision, which right now is upwards of plus 300 or more on a lot of these bookies. But prediction-wise, I am going to go Marcos Rogerio to catch him in round 1. But if it gets past round 1, dude, I'm live betting Andre. I'm sticking to my decision prop because I think that's what has the most value on this one.
Dude, Marcos de Lima in round 1 by knockout plus 425. And I'm sure you can do better than on like maybe like a FanDuel. Maybe had something more than that. But my God, that's like his win condition though. But I think Marcos is just as live to get a decision here if he hurts Andre in round 1, secures round 1 with damage and just like the bigger moment, and then just holds him against the cage the way he held Blagoy Ivanov last time against the cage. I could see that happening. That's what I'm scared about. I'm more scared about the cage stalling than I am about like the knockout potential, honestly, in terms of De Lima winning. But yeah, I was going to bet Andre Arlovski at like, plus 165, plus 170. I'm like, let's just wait. I saw plus 190, plus 200. Now I'm saying plus 225. Like, I don't know, man. I might have to just lay the money on it tonight and just hope that it's peaked there. But that's pretty crazy. But you're right. Like some of these books, like the decision prop for Arlovski is not increasing yet as far as like they're kind of noticing that that's kind of the trend, right? Like the decision prop is basically the money line in some ways. But then watch Arlovski come out here and pull up Bilal Muhammad and get a knockout. I mean that could happen as well. I don't know. I want to see Arlovski win this fight. The fan in me is calling for it, but I do think it's a strategy he can employ too. He's moved to this boxing style recently where he's just pretty low volume, but he can, if he lands the counters he needs to against these slow, fat heavyweights, he can school them up. I really want a split decision Arlovski prop. If I could get that at like plus 1,000 or better, that would be awesome. Don't know if I'll get that number, but man, yeah, you agree he lost that fight though against Collier, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
He lost that one.
I was lucky. I had a decision bet on Arlovski, and I was like, guys, I lost that bet, but I won the bet, so I'm happy.
I had already crossed it off my list, and I had to uncross. I had to circle it again, and be like, no, that was a win. So, yeah, man, if Arlovski can pull it off, you just need to give the man a title shot at this point. Just give him a title shot. He's not going to get a better streak than 5 in a row in the heavyweight division. So. Yeah. Another greasy fight is up next, in my opinion. I think this one is a very interesting fight. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Phil Hawes at middleweight taking on Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze, I like this guy. Like, his fight style is not always the most exciting. Obviously, last time against Kyle Dawkins, it was extremely exciting. 1 minute, just kneed him in the skull, knocked him out. But Roman Dolidze actually reminds me of Ian Kuntalaba a little bit. They're both just kind of like insane, like European, just like really like hulking figures, just kind of insane in the mind. Yeah, you just don't know what's going to go down at the weigh-ins, at the face-offs. I think Dolidze's live in this spot. I really do, as an underdog. Like, Phil Hawes has got some decent boxing, some decent striking. He's got the D1 wrestling credentials that he doesn't always have the fight IQ to use. But then again, Roman Dolidze is an idiot and drops for heel hooks nonstop. Has he put that behind him? Maybe. I don't know. What do you think about this one? I'm thinking Roman Dolidze right now, either by finish or by decision.
I'm gonna have to disagree. Although I believe there is value on Roman Dolidze for sure, especially with the scorecards no action prop. I think that one is definitely the bet to make on this fight. The reason I'm going Phil Hawes, however you want to say it, for this one is just because I do believe on the ground, Roman Dolidze is still going to go back to his old ways and hot for a submission, hot for a guillotine, hot for a heel hook, whatever the case may be. And Phil Hawes, with that wrestling pedigree, like he did at Kyle Dawkins, is not going to dominate Roman Dolidze. Roman will probably get up 30 seconds, 45 seconds after that. But that little bit of ground and pound will be there. And on the feet, I do believe Roman, he'll land some big shots, but Philip will land more volume. And the fact that he's going to have that wrestling and a little bit of ground and pound mixed in there, I think he'll get the win on the judges' scorecards. But like I said, the odds on Hawes to win by decision, plus 200, it's okay odds. But I'd rather take plus 140 on Dolidze scorecards no action. If you're getting plus money on Dolidze to get a finish and Hawes to not get a finish, and I would definitely like to do that type of a bet because Roman's never been finished. Phil Hawes got cracked by Chris Dawkins a few times in their fight, and Roman's coming off a devastating knockout loss. So that'd be the bet to make, but my prediction is Phil Hawes edging it out on the scorecards 29-28.
I don't disagree with that. Like, it's scary to, like, when I broke this fight down on my full card breakdown this week, like, it was basically like, I think Roman could win this fight a number of ways, but I can't bet him because he just makes dumb decisions. I stand by that. I like your inside the distance scorecards no action because the worst we've seen Roman Dolidze hurt was he got that right cross from Trevin Giles that like wobbled him, put him on, made him do the stanky leg across the octagon a little bit, and then he was, recovered pretty quickly. Tough Georgian son of a bitch, but Phil Hawes was put out. Yeah. Phil Hawes has only been put out a couple times as well. But Roman Dolidze, I just think he's physically stronger. That's kind of where I came with this one. Like, he seems like he's got decent cardio. We saw him wrestle Laureano Staropoli across the entire octagon for 15 minutes straight, so just kind of having like a stalemate, trying to pull him to the ground, take his back and knee him. So, he can grapple. And that's the thing is Phil Hawes has that weird gas tank issue that sometimes flares up, sometimes doesn't. But yeah, I could see either guy. I do like that scorecards no action. That's a decent price on that one too. What was that number again?
Plus 140.
Okay. Yeah, that ain't bad at all to get plus money on that. You don't have to pay any chalk. I like that one. So a little bit of a disagreement on that one, but it's not a strong conviction by any means. Like, I'm not saying he's like a lock underdog for me. I'm not even playing it, to be honest, but that's a spot I might take. What do we got? Wow. The comments.
One of them has it plus 160. Jeez.
I'll have to look at those. Yeah, I circled that and wrote that down. People are posing a fight between you and who's this MMA prodigy? What's going on here in the chat?
No idea who that is.
They're playing out. They're playing out predictions. Bert can't. You're gonna get. Are you chinny? You got a glass chin. Bert can't grapple. Don't you wrestle or something? Bert?
I just came back from wrestling. I got an inverted triangle before practice on a 195-pound NC state champion. Like, come on, guys.
And what do you weigh? 200, 220?
120 pounds.
That's awesome, dude.
Not even a flyweight.
Yeah. I was wondering what was going on here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I know who MMA Prodigy is. He used to go by a different name, but we've talked here and there. Yeah. He does breakdowns. He's I think, yeah, another young buck in the YouTube community. He puts out some good content. I think we follow each other on Twitter. Yeah. Hawes, better hide your grill. Dolidze is coming. That's really the take for this one. That's why that guy's such a savage, man. But he went after, if he takes Hawes's girl, man, he took JP Bays' girl. Yeah, I don't know. If he takes Hawes's girl, that's kind of a pro move. He just needs to go back up to heavyweight after this. So somebody's Pink Floyd's congratulating you on your triangle. That's amazing. Yeah, so moving on. I do like that nugget of information, though. That's a good prop. Inside the distance scorecards, no action. I have another one of those on this, too, later on up the card. But moving on to Dustin Jacoby taking on Khalil Rountree. I'll let you kick this one off at light heavyweight. The odds currently are sitting around Dustin Jacoby. We've got sitting at, where am I at now? I just lost everything. Minus 160, plus 140 on Khalil Rountree Jr. What's your take on this fight? The over-under set at 2.5.
The first thing I'm going to say is my prediction I'm about to say could be 100% right, or it could get blown out of the water. Khalil Rountree could go out there, knock Dustin Jacoby out with something stupid, an oblique kick, a spinning wheel kick. I don't know what Khalil Rountree has been training for this fight, for some spectacular move to knock out Dustin Jacoby. It could be something like that. Or Jacoby can win a 30-27, being the more technical striker, moving, jabbing a 1-2 and body kicking, front kicking, staying at range, using his height and reach advantage, which he's 2 inches taller, 4 inches lengthier, and does that for 3 straight rounds and wins the 30-27 decision. Maybe knocks out Khalil round 2 or round 3, given the fact that he just starched Dao and Jung in his last fight as well. I mean, there was some controversy with that one, but still,
no, so that was pretty clean. I lost money on that one too.
What'd you say?
I lost money on that one too. That was pretty clean.
Yeah, but it's one of those where it could easily be a Dustin Jacoby 30-27 and 30 seconds left. Khalil Rountree just knocks him out with something crazy. So I'm going to go Dustin Jacoby. But if you're putting a bunch of money on this fight, you better be praying to Jesus Khalil Rountree doesn't go out there and just starts Dustin Jacoby round number 1. But I do think Dustin wins a 30-27 decision. Odds on that decision are honestly pretty decent in my opinion, because the odds to go to a decision are plus money at plus 165. Jacoby by decisions at plus 310, so triple your money on that one. I had Volkan Oezdemir by decision and Armin Petrosian last week. This is a similar one around similar odds. I'll go Jacoby by decision.
That's what I had on this one, too. I mean, it's going to be a striker's delight, but Jacoby's got more of the tools, right? He can really work the clinch game as well. You don't see him going for the takedowns all that often, but he's just got the physical advantages here. He's just got the timing. He can somehow be like, you don't think he's that high striking output, and then before you know it, like he's racked up like a lot of just consistent volume over time. And he hasn't been put out by any, that many guys. He got put out by Alex Pajeda, in kickboxing, and then I think King Mo the Wall back in Bellator, I want to say. So that was about it. So yeah, exactly. So it wasn't even a clean. There was only one clean knockout on the feet, and that was the Pajeda. I think it was a hook of some sort, a right or left hook.
Left hook.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. But Khalil Rountree, a lot of his fights do not see the scorecards. Is the only thing that like statistically scares me. But I think. I don't see Jacoby putting him out because likewise, Khalil Rountree hasn't been put out by that many things besides, again, ground and pound by Ian Kuntalaba and, the Johnny Walker elbow. Johnny Walker could put out anybody at any given time. The right day, that guy's going to knock you out with something. So, yeah, I do like this fight going, Khalil inside the distance or Jacoby by decision. And Khalil Rountree is just so like hit or miss. He's hard to bet on, because 1 second he looks really good and then the next second he's like losing to Marcin Prachnio, just doing absolutely nothing. That still hurts, and I haven't forgiven him for that. That was the fight where like everybody thought it was going to go under 1.5, and the fight not go to decision was like a hedge, like this. And then it goes Marcin Prachnio out volumes him like 1,000,000 to 1. Yeah, and again, Khalil Rountree is not like he's not strung together more than a couple of wins in a row ever before. This will be the first time if he does it in the UFC. So give me Jacoby by decision. Those are some pretty good numbers, plus 350. Let's see here. What do we got? Yeah, I had to highlight the MMA. Jesus, my boy Wiz Betts is a winning gambler and a good buddy of mine. I can highlight these comments talking shit against him. He bet against his coach, Beneil Dariush last week. That's what that's about. So that was really funny. Pop and Chuck, the two most jacked MMA cappers on YouTube, Patrick and Bert. Goddamn right, Pop and Chuck. I love it. And what we got here, Justin saying, King Mo could never figure out where he stood compared to fighters. He always bounced different fights, made no sense. Sometimes looked real good, real bad. That's true, and I was a big fan of his too. He had some pretty solid beef with Quentin Jackson back in the day. That was a lot of fun. What's up, Mushroom? Saying, what's up, Patrick and Bert? Let's fucking go. Here we go. Once again, Jacoby will dog Rountree like Prodigy would Bert.
It looks like he's like 8 or 9 years old. Just by the look of him, it looks like I could grab his neck and just choke him out. Looks like he's like 70 pounds, guys. I'm small, but he looks real small.
Up next, we got Tresean Gore taking on Josh Fremd. And this is a spot, again, a confusing fight for me on this card, to be honest with you. This is probably the fight I had the least confidence in. The more I looked into it after I did my breakdown, the more I kind of feel like I have a read on it. At middleweight, Josh Fremd, former LFA. I think he was 3-1 in the LFA. He only lost by knockout to Gregory Rodriguez, a vicious knockout where his head bounced like a basketball off the canvas from that clean 1-2 from RoboCop. But other than that, he got 3 first-round finishes of his own. Tresean Gore, we know, very inexperienced guy in mixed martial arts, but nice knockout on the Ultimate Fighter. Injured himself, came back. Could not win that decision against Brian Battle, who has proven to be a pretty good fighter. And then got knocked out by Cody Brundage by kind of like a pillow-fisted looking strike recently this year. But yeah, this is a spot where I just think Josh Fremd is kind of defensively lacking on the feet. When he moves around, he's got that tall man defense. It scares me against a guy who's jacked and looks to be as powerful and explosive as Tresean Gore. But that's just all puncher's chance, right? And I usually don't bet on those things. I got to take Josh Fremd to win this fight. He's just got more striking output by miles. Seems to have some decent hands of his own, offensively anyways, So what do you think about this one, man? I'm leaning Josh Fremd. I think he could win this fight inside the distance or by decision, but I think this goes, I think this finishes inside the distance more often than not. What do you think about this one?
I feel the same way in that Tresean Gore, his main way of winning would probably be a knockout, kind of where Gregory Rodriguez was able to catch him, just get right on the spot and put him out cold. But it is if Tresean Gore, I like to call him Tresean Woodley Gore, because he goes out there with just kind of sitting there looking at you a little bit. You throw a leg kick, he's like, maybe I throw a jab, maybe I wanna. Sometimes you'll go out there and just start bum rushing you. Sometimes you just not throw a strike for 4 or 5 minutes. So, again, I don't know what Tresean Gore is going to go out there, but based on the Tresean Gore from the last 2 fights, which is what I'm going to have to go off of, not a very good Tresean Gore. So I would have to say Josh Fremd is going to be able to stay away from the shots because there's not going to be many shots, and be able to mix in the takedowns here. Possibly get the back, maybe submit him with a rear naked, maybe a ground and pound TKO. But I don't know. I love my decision props. I always do them when I can. When there's odds on Fremd inside the distance at plus 140, plus 160 right there, and then the odds on decision are at plus 275. I'd rather take those decision props, given how 50-50 I think it could go either way on inside the distance or for the finish. So I would rather say Fremd by decision as my prediction and as a bet at plus 275. I think it'd be an okay bet on that one.
I like it. Yeah, we saw Josh Fremd actually look to one of these guys, and there's a few on this card that have looked impressive on a loss, right? They're coming back in here with a little bit of stock on them. That's Josh Fremd with that Fluffy Hernandez fight that he took. He didn't look horrible. He had his moments, but just, do you know what I mean? By his defense, looks like his hands are down by his side. He just seems like his chin is up there to be hit by a big overhand from Tresean Gore. I just have that image in my mind. But again, that's a very good comparison to Tyron Woodley, the frozen one, just not able to pull the trigger. And I don't like that. That's what I meant by Tresean Gore. It looks like he's got the potential, but it's hard to bet on that puncher's chance because rarely does it ever pay off. You know what I mean? So what's going on, Uncle Weezy? Saying, fellas, what's good? Big up, both of you. Bert, what up, young blood?
What's up, Weezy?
Nice shout out from Wheezy. Good to have you in here, Uncle Wheezy. I got to check out your Just the Tip. I was busy last night. Usually I catch those now. My Stogie. I'll have to fire one up tonight and watch that show. I think later on tonight, check out Ask Wheezy, where he opens up his database and you can look at all of the hard work statistics from the genius himself at MMA, Uncle Wheezy. So go ahead and check out that live later on. Yeah, we got Daz saying Smooth Jimmy in the house, the alter ego of Uncle Wheezy. Yeah, we're in agreement on that one as well. Should I be worried about Tresean Gore, or should I have more confidence in Josh Fremd? Because that money line is not bad. I know you like that decision prop, but we're looking at minus 150.
Yeah, I would wait. I would honestly wait. Right now, most of the bookies have it minus 160, minus 170, but I'm seeing one of the bookies that really kind of sets the bar in Bet Online, that a lot of them, when this bookie goes like that, a lot of the others start to follow. And it was minus 200 just 4 days ago. It's already at minus 147. So I'm seeing that line kind of be scared for the Tresean Gore power. So I'd wait a few days, maybe wait till like around Friday, and you're going to get some good odds, minus 130, minus 140 on Josh Fremd. Then I put that in a parlay with one of the other confident picks, whoever you're confident on the card. Get it to plus money. I think it'd be a good bet.
Yeah, this is like the only line. Besides, we're thinking the Christian Rodriguez Weems line. It's the only one that's set at over 1.5. So something to think about there. But yeah, a lot of these, now that I'm looking at them after my initial research and passing on some fights, some of these lines are now playable. So this will be interesting. But moving on to, speaking of interesting, man, we got Jared Vanderaa taking on Waldo Cortes-Acosta at heavyweight. Got to love these bum heavyweight fights here, especially a guy who's 1-5, Jared Vanderaa, in the heavyweight division. Just pitiful. And we've got Waldo Cortes-Acosta, of course, coming off of a three knockout winning streak off the Contender Series now, another knockout. He looks okay, man. He's undefeated, 7-0, big enough guy. What I like about Cortes-Acosta the most is that he's got hand speed and power in round 1 as well as round 3. So I like that a lot. I don't see that same zip on the punches of Vanderaa as this fight goes on. Who do you got in this one? My favorite prop on this one so far, Bert, is definitely the plus 150 Acosta knockout. But Jared Vandeera's got he gets finished a lot, but he's got a funny way of at least lasting over that 1.5 mark, or at least into round 2. Yeah. I'm leaning Cortes-Acosta, but he's so unproven. It's very difficult to back either guy in this spot. What do you think here?
Yeah, I would agree with everything you said there. He's definitely the faster guy. He's going to be same height as Jared Vanderaa, a little bit of a reach disadvantage, but really not going to matter given his speed advantage over Jared Vanderaa. And it's one of those where I could see a first round knockout, but like you said, Jared Vanderaa for some reason gets to round number 2, round number 3. He did it with Andre Arlovski, went to a decision with Alexander Romanov. I believe it was a second round TKO in that fight. Somehow finds a way to go to those later rounds. So I would honestly say a round 2 knockout prop, or like a double chance, round 2, round 3, Waldo Cortes KO TKO would probably have some value and be in the plus money for sure. Maybe even double your money on that one, because Waldo's speed is going to stay the same throughout the fight. His power is probably going to stay the same, but Jared is going to fade in those later rounds. So second or third TKO.
What do you rate the chance? What do you rate the chance that Jared Vanderaa uses his black belt with the newfound knowledge he learned from Oleksiy Oleinik? Remember backstage after he got scarf holded by Oleinik, and they were like, he was showing Jared Vanderaa his secret moves, his ancient Indian tricks. What do you think the odds are? What's the odds? Like a plus 5,000 that Jared Vanderaa actually uses that same scarf hold that he learned on Cortes-Acosta, and we get a round 1. We get a round 1 Oleinik emulator, and we get a scarf hold from Jared Vanderaa.
I'm going to say the only way that happens is if Waldo's shin breaks on the first leg kick, and then he could get the scarf hold. I don't find on any other way. So like 150 to 1.
I like to think that he might do that someday, kind of like back in the day when Steven Seagal was showing Anderson Silva how to front kick Vitor Belfort, Well, there was one of those moments backstage between Oleksiy Oleinik and Jared Vanderaa. But I think that when there was a comment earlier that I need to give them credit for that, but it cracked me up when you were breaking out a fight earlier. It was Jared Vanderaa DM'd me and told me he was going to wrestle, but he also was shoving a crayon up his nose. Whoever that was, man, the comment of the day. Yeah, Vanderaa has a total of 1 takedown attempt in all of his UFC fights, including a Contender Series. Well, he didn't need one there. That was the last time he looked good against, wasn't that against Hunsucker he fought on the Contender Series?
Vanderaa? Was it Vanderaa that fought him?
I'm pretty sure. I think it was, yeah, it was Harry Hunsucker, round 1 knockout. Yep, that was a
easy Contender Series fight. Jeez.
Yep, that was a while ago. So that was the last time he really looked good as far as getting a knockout. Besides that, it was just Justin Tafa, which he oddly out-kickboxed Justin Tafa. We thought there was promise, and there was none. It's been 4 losses since then. So, yeah, give me that Cortes-Acosta. But again, the kid's so unproven. But I do like his cardio in this one, so I'm with you on those later round knockout props. But the next fight is really intriguing to me. This is, I guess, the co-main event already on this short card. We got Max Griffin taking on the Dirty Bird, Tim Means. And I like Max Griffin here. I'm very confident in Max Griffin in this spot at welterweight. I think he's been looking better, honestly. Like, he's not the youngest guy in the division. Neither guy is. You've got 36-year-old Max Griffin and 39-year-old Tim Means, I want to say. But 38 years old for Tim Means. But Tim Means has got that one strategy right now where it's like he needs to kind of close the distance and then dirty box against the cage. That's really his game right now. Just getting in close, dirty boxing up against the fence, holding you there. Max Griffin's very good at, kind of circling off the cage. His takedown defense looks solid. And what a step down in competition this fight is from Neil Magny, where Max Griffin almost flatlined Neil Magny in round 1. He knocked him down in that fight, had a split decision result, which was a losing result, but he was out-wrestled largely to lose that fight. I don't see that strategy being employed by Tim Means, who has kind of like a free-flowing, kickboxing style on the feet. His boxing looks loose and creative, but his durability is lacking at this age, and I think Max Griffin could actually put him out in this fight. But I like the money line for Max Griffin in this one. What do you think about this? Do you see Dirty Bird Tim Means coming in here and scoring another win?
No, I don't. I would agree Max Griffin probably wins. If Tim Means can find a way here, it'd have to be some sort of cut early on in the fight that's really going to affect Max Griffin. He's going to have to get into the clinch and just Dirty Bird elbow him early on in the fight. But again, like you said, Max Griffin's got good movement to stay out of the range and get out of those clinching situations. He hits harder. He's got good wrestling, good grappling. Even though he was controlled a little bit in the Neil Magny fight, he actually said he was going to come in to this Tim Means fight and look for this submission. He expected to get a round 1, round 2 submission, which makes me think he's that confident in getting a submission. Well, that means he's not going to get submitted himself and not get out wrestled and out grappled. I think it's going to be a striking fight. Like you said, could be a knockout. You never know. Max did show some power on Neil Magny in the last one, but I think he wins round 1, round 2. Tim will show little promise of a comeback, possibly win round 3, but I think Griffin wins the unanimous decision.
This is the spot where I liked the into the distance scorecards, no action. At this one, it is you are paying chalk at minus 180, minus 190 for Max Griffin, but Tim Means is not putting anybody out in a while. When he has, I think the last finish he had was against Thiago Alves, a washed up Thiago Alves by submission. He's not knocking anybody out. And Max Griffin has only been finished in the UFC by ground and pound by what's his face, Colby Covington. And that's actually the only time he's ever been knocked out.
A long time ago.
Yeah, so it's been a while, and he's absorbed a lot of punishment since then. I don't see Tim Means being the guy to do it, so I do like that scorecards, no action there. But I also like the knockout props for Max Griffin in this fight as well. I think he could get that job done. Does he get that clubbing sub the way that Tim Means has been, just giving up his neck? He'll get hurt, dive for something, or just leave his neck exposed. Probably not going to happen from Max Griffin, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about those props? You like those finish ones?
The inside the distance scorecard is no action. I actually do. Minus 180. It does seem a little bit chalky, but it does seem like it would definitely cash.
Right.
More times than not, because Max Griffin.
It just seems like he's the only guy that's
no, come on.
Yeah, it's the only guy that's going to get a finish. Yeah. So yeah, I see there's a bit of a decline for Tim Means. Even the thing he's really well known for, which is his durability, is starting to fade as well. And Max Griffin, I feel has the tools to deal with, which Tim Means is good at here. So I'm pretty confident in him. Definitely one of those pieces to a parlay I wouldn't mind using this week if we're going that route. All right, you guys, we got 20 live viewers in the chat right now. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Make sure you go in the description and follow my guy Bert on all of his socials and his YouTube. Unless you live under a rock, you don't already follow this man. The best MMA news in the game, the best content, and a damn good gambler as well. Probably going to work for the UFC at some point. Bert, what do you think about that? Think you're going to be the next the better version of John Anik?
Not a John Anik, but I'm 100% replacing Yanni the Greek. I'm kicking that guy out of there. We're getting Yanni out of there. For all of you guys at home that get screwed over by Yanni going 3-18 on bets, I'm coming in there. I'm gonna replace that, and y'all will at least get more than 50%. That's all I'll promise you. All right.
I like that. I like it. So let's go into the main event, which is a very good one because every time Calvin Kattar steps into the main event, featherweight's a great division. Calvin Kattar makes it that much better, always fighting the top guys. And now he's fighting this streaking, undefeated in the UFC, Arnold Allen. And the line has since shifted where Calvin Kattar, you can get it even money with a plus number next to it for a guy as durable and proven as Calvin Kattar. Arnold Allen, very impressive as well. And he's starting to kind of look better in some of these spots he's been in, a few decision results, and then recently the destruction of Dan Hooker in round 1. I'll let you kick this one off, man. The odds, like I said, are about minus 120 Arnold Allen, plus 100 Calvin Kattar. The over-under set at, what are we looking at here? I've already forgotten. We're looking at under over 4.5, of course, for a featherweight fight. The over about minus 150, under plus 120. Who do you got here, man?
Definitely going Calvin Kattar. I got plenty of reasons to go for Calvin Kattar here. And I'll list them out for you one by one. First off, cardio. Second off, 5-round experience. The man has been in, I think this is his 5th or 6th main event, 5-round type of a fight. This is Arnold Allen's first fight in a 5-round fight, especially going against the guy with the cardio of Calvin, who is able to not fade against Max Holloway, one of the best cardio kings in the featherweight division. So those are 2 straight off the bat. Number 3 is going to be volume. He lands 2 more strikes per minute than Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen got outstruck by Sodiq Yusuff by a lot, by like double the amount of strikes. Even the rounds he was able to win, there was still him getting outlanded with the leg kicks and with the jabs and the 1-2s by Sodiq Yusuff. There's rounds in there that he's losing a Makwan Amirkhani in the striking. He's an absolutely low-level striker, if I can say the least. And not to mention the takedown defense of Calvin Kattar, defended every takedown but one against Zabit Magomed Sharipov. Guess how long Zabit held him there? 20 seconds, 30 seconds. That was about it. The rest of the control time was in the clinch, got right back up. So I expect this one to be a striking matchup. I can't see Arnold controlling the fight on the ground. Might win one of the early rounds, round 1, round 2. But once he gets into deep water and Calvin just starts pittering him out at range, jabbing him, 1-2, and him, mixing in the kicks as well, he's just going to really put Arnold Allen where he's never been in his MMA career, in a really uncomfortable place. And now that I think about it, my thoughts on a possible KO in the later rounds definitely has increased for Calvin Kattar. I can definitely see maybe a round 4 TKO on for Calvin Kattar in this fight. But like a lot of people, I'm going to go the safe route and go Calvin Kattar to win. Round 2, round 3, maybe lose round 4 or something due to the judges just giving it to Arnold Allen. And then I think Calvin Kattar will win round number 5. But those later rounds are all Calvin Kattar's, in my opinion. And the odds on him by decision are pretty solid, in my opinion, at, what are they right now? Plus 250, plus 225 on there. If you have one of the bookies that allows you to do like a Calvin Kattar round 4, round 5, and decision, add them all up together, I would like that even more. But if you can't, decision props okay as well. That's my thoughts. I got Calvin by decision.
Yeah, I'm the same boat as you, man. I got Calvin Kattar. Sometimes I'm starting to think of ways where that could unfold, but it's like so natural with his striking that like he doesn't rush the knockout, you know what I mean? It'll just come, by its own merit, right? So I think Calvin Kattar's got more technical skills striking-wise, just as far as like in the moment, in the middle of the fight, he makes those reads, those adjustments like in like mid-position, whereas Arnold Allen sometimes overswings a little bit, definitely looking to take people's heads off. Yeah. Calvin Kattar's just real clean with, he'll set things up. He'll fake uppercuts, then come over the top with the left. Like, he's real clean with it. And I just love how he doesn't seem to have missed a beat, even with all of the miles he's taken. Like, that's kind of a knock against him for sure. He's got the experience, but, man, he's gotten the shit kicked out of him many, many times more than Arnold Allen for sure. What do you think about, like, all of the layoff time for Arnold Allen? Like, he has not fought that – because you even mentioned the Makwan Amirkhani fight, and we're talking that was back 5 years ago at this point. You know what I mean? So he's fought like once or twice a year for a while now, just kind of maintaining this 9-0 streak in the UFC. At his age and everything, do you think that that's kind of helping him, or do you think the activity of a guy like Calvin Kattar, do you think which side do you weigh more positively as far as who wins this fight?
It's a double-edged sword. Whereas, I mean, Calvin, the only reason he's this good right now is he's been in the experiences with Max Holloway. He's been in those 5-round, very close fights where he's learning a lot. I need to do this at this moment to sway the judges on the round, so I don't lose a split decision in the next fight. He's gone through all these lessons, gained the experience. Where Arnold, I would definitely say he's on the disadvantage here. Well, it is sort of an advantage that he's preserving his head. Maybe he's a little bit less likely to get knocked out in the early rounds. Maybe has a little bit of a fresher chin. There is still that argument that he's not going to be able to know what to do round number 4, round number 5. When he's gassed, he's going to be like, what do I do here? I've never been in this situation with the guy coming at me like Kattar, who looks exactly the same as he did in round number 1. So I give the advantage slightly to Calvin.
Yeah, I like that read as well. And again, it's kind of like that thing with the 5-round fights that you mentioned. This is going to be his 5th 5-round fight. This is his 6th main event slot as well. So he's another day in the office for Calvin Kattar here. And I just feel like to beat Calvin Kattar, you have to either be in his face at all times like Josh Emmett was, or and that barely worked, right? Like that was a very close decision. Like that was kind of as close as you would get it. Somebody who's just going to be Calvin Kattar's shadow, just be on the inside and answer, one more punch than you're being thrown. Or you need to be able to wrestle Calvin Kattar and take him down, which nobody's really been successful in lately in those fights. And Arnold Allen certainly doesn't have like the track record to show that he's going to be able to do that either. So I like those reads. I'm also on Calvin Kattar. And this is one of those spots where, again, I was, it went from like minus 150 all the way to, plus money at this point, even money. So this is the time to bet Calvin Kattar. And now at the end of this show, I appreciate all of you guys sticking around. This is actually Bert's idea, and I'm glad. I don't need anybody to really twist my arm that hard to start parlaying things up. So let's talk about some of our parlay pieces for this card and possibly what Bert has put together. You said you have some props in there as well as some money lines.
I do. So what I have is it's some of my more confident picks of the card, like Christian Rodriguez, Junior Park, Waldo. And there are also some overs in the parlay as well. I feel very good about this going over in the main event, going over 2.5 rounds. So I'm going to put that in there. That's at minus 250. I do believe if there is going to be a finish, I set that mark at round 4, round 5. Like I said, that's when I think Calvin could possibly get that finish and put Arnold Allen out of there. So I'm setting my mark right at the over 2.5 just to be safe. Also going to be adding in the Griffin versus Means over 1.5. It is not that it is a definitely risky part of the parlay, in my opinion. This one, I am going to be shivering a little bit, waiting for them to walk out and for it to go over the 1.5, given what Griffin was able to do round number 1 with Tim Means. So if you want to take
your
away
blood pressure just going through the roof at that point, just hoping that those punches don't hurt too badly on Tim Means' chin.
Oh, yeah. If you want to take away that over 1.5, you definitely can't do so. That's an extra thing I added in there just to make it a little bit more fun for me to shiver there as I'm just shaking watching the fight happen. But the over 2.5, the main event, over 1.5, the co-main event at minus 350. We got Waldo Cortes-Acosta at minus 225. If your bookie allows you to do the KO TKO decision props, maybe you could do that as well to maybe get at to maybe the minus 190s, minus 180s possibly. I'm going to add Junior Park in there as well. I am feeling very, very solid about him. And minus 225, I actually think the odds are going to go the other way. Right now, the odds are coming in on Joseph Holmes. A little bit of money is coming in on him, but by fight night, I expect Junior Park to sit around minus 250. If we can get the value at minus 225 in right now, I like that. Chase Hooper, I'm not liking the value too much on Chase Hooper, but again, by fight night, we're going to have minus 300, minus 310, minus 320. A lot of people are going to parlay Chase Hooper in there, so having him at minus 250 this early on in the week, I think will save us a little bit if we were to parlay it later. And then lastly, we're going to have Christian Rodriguez, playing a little bit of chalk here at minus 365, but I am confident that he should be able to honestly outgrab.
That got out of control real fast. Yeah, I'm seeing minus 400 already.
Yeah, so Christian Rodriguez, Chase Hooper, Junior Park, and Waldo Cortes-Acosta for the money line guys. And then the over 1.5 for the co-main event, over 2.5 for the main event gets you to plus 570 on the bookie that I'm on right here, but it could make you plus 500 on another bookie, maybe even less than that on others. It just depends on which one you're on.
Yeah, I'm with you on a lot of those as well. I'm probably not going to take the time props parlayed in, but as far as the money lines go, certainly with you with some of the confident picks. I'm confident on Waldo, but just the unproven nature makes me a little worried about him. But I do like anytime you get to fade Jared Vanderaa, who's 1-5 in the UFC, you guys. I mean, and it gets finished in many of those spots. But I like Christian Rodriguez as one of the top plays. I do like Calvin Kattar if you can get him in there as part of that parlay, because that's at the end of the night you could possibly hedge out, and that's going to beef things up with plus 100 odds. You get a plus number in a parlay. I like Max Griffin a lot on the money line. Again, I just think it's the regressed skill set of Tim Means, and I just think Max Griffin just is way better in areas where Tim Means would have a chance to win. All the clinching against the cage, any potential takedowns, I think Griffin can really shut down. Junior Park, I'm with you on, Bert, as well. I do like Chase Hooper, and I do like Dustin Jacoby as well, maybe at the end. So I might do something I've done in the past is like a 2-leg parlay, and then I won't wager more on a 4-leg and a 6-leg than I would win on that 2-leg parlay, if you get my drift there. So I'm making 3 different bets: a 2-leg, a 4-leg, and a 6-leg. Kind of in a pyramid way like that, just the top end of a progressive parlay. So I might go that route and just try to play with those key pieces and see if we can make some money off of it. But yeah, having Calvin Kattar in there is like a really strong conviction this week, and he's plus 100. Like, that's pretty rare for a main event at this point. Usually, like, the obvious reads in a main event are going to be, you're paying minus 200 or more. So I like this week, man. We can make some money on this little card after UFC 280, And you did very well, didn't you? You did extremely well with the main event of UFC 280, right? So you're riding this good luck streak. How many units you come up on that one?
You're not going to believe me, but including the 2-week parlays that I had, it was 42 units profit.
Oh yeah, because you had some bets that were placed like a long time ago, right? That were like hinging on that going over in the main event.
I had like 3 or 4 week parlays hedging on an over 1.5 in the main event, barely cashed.
Yeah, I mean, that was lucky as hell that Islam Makhachev. Luckily, my son Hasbullah waited to signal the overhand.
Thank you, Hasbullah. Your son, thank you.
Again, Bert, it's been a pleasure, man. So, and shout out to everybody in the chat, all 19 of you guys still remaining, listening to us ramble about UFC Vegas 63, which is not the most exciting card altogether. I know we have a couple more exciting ones coming up, especially that Adesanya-Pereira fight card. That entire pay-per-view is stacked. So, can't wait to talk about that one in the future. But for now, UFC Vegas 63, featherweight main event. And again, in the description, you can find all of Bert's links. I'll give him a chance to say his piece. Also, Addicted to Combat, a partner of BetUS Sportsbook, America's favorite sportsbook. If you guys want 125%, deposit bonus for the sportsbook, hit that link in the description. An easy way to help out the channel besides subscribing. Bert, the floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, again, everyone knows. If you don't know now, you'll know. Like Dana White says, I post a buttload of videos every single day, so you don't have to necessarily turn on the notifications, but every now and then, if you are subscribed, go check it out. We got Bellator full card predictions, PFL full card predictions, betting breakdowns like these. We got the confident picks videos. We got the MMA news videos every single day, which I go through like 15 topics every single day, fight announcements, call outs, even just random stuff like Mohamed Mokayev becoming a father a few weeks ago. I mean, everything there is to know about MMA, we post on the channel. So if you want to go check it out, you definitely can do so. If not, then damn, that's cruel. But yeah, that's it.
No, Bert, it's been an honor, man. You know your shit, too, just from us talking over the past few weeks. I mean, you understand this game at a really detailed level. I don't think people pay you credit. And even other content creators, I think, don't think of things as detailed the way that we've spoken about it. So, especially as far as like scoring criteria and things like that. So, all right, you guys, it's been a pleasure. I'll talk to you guys very soon for the best bets and props video. Cheers.